look at the fog this morning. Good morning on this beautiful fall day. It is Wednesday and it is just gorgeous outside. Well, the fall temperatures have been hitting. We've been getting in the 40s at night and 70s during the day, low 70s. It's felt just amazing. The greenhouse is doing really great. This is, a new greenhouse, so we're just learning how everything is working as far as, how warm it gets, how cool it gets, and with the seasons coming and everything. So we built this during the summer. We have a vent fan, which really controls the heat. It helps bring a lot of that out of there. If I didn't have a vent fan in here, it would be super hot and just would melt every plant I had in here. So I was able to keep all of my plants in here during the summertime. Now I do live in East Tennessee. For those of y'all that don't know, we get, average around 90 throughout the summer, really humid. But I have a very nice vent fan that keeps it cool in here in the summer. And when I say cool, I mean tolerable for my plants. And I have cross ventilation right there, and then also on this door. So I would say if I didn't have the vent fan running and the windows open during the hottest part of the summer, it would be well over 100. So with this, my temperatures range around 95 in the hottest part of the summer when our temperatures are in the 90s. So I think that works pretty good, being, this is south facing and has all this glass. This side helps. It is a shaded side underneath my porch area, which is really great for my shade plants and plants that just don't want to tolerate that stark, blaring sun. I also have a shade cloth, so if you have a greenhouse that just doesn't have this option over here, like I have, then shade cloth is another option. I do keep plants under here that thrive really well. When I was first starting out with my greenhouse, I wasn't sure how certain plants were going to do, so we ended up moving things around. So I just watched my plants closely. If things started wilting and looking like it wasn't happy, I just moved them over. And every plant's different, even within the same type of plant, like succulents. Some of my succulents prefer shaded areas, some of them prefer more sun. So it's just different with each plant. You got to keep that in mind as well. I have tropicals in here that absolutely thrive wonderful. I grow tomatoes in here. I'm doing flowers, and it is getting into late October, and my flowers are still blooming that I had in the springtime, so I just love that. It's awesome. Let's see. I'm going to talk about how we're going to heat this greenhouse over the winter time. So this is something that I wanted to be able to use during the winter, but not spend a fortune on keeping it heated. So I looked into some different methods, and the first method I came across was, I actually came across 3 methods that were options I thought that I could use. One was heat, one was gas or propane, and the other was a stove. So I looked into it. Obviously heat and propane will probably be your easiest way to do it, because you just basically turn it on, and they have thermostats, and someone can come and fill up the propane if you use that method, and it's pretty easy to do. But I determined that with those 2 methods, the cost was really expensive. I think electricity was the highest we were figuring up, propane next, or gas, whatever you have in your area. So those 2 are going to be pretty costly. Now, I can't give an exact answer because this would be our first winter that we're going through, and I don't know how much that we're going to use of it. Now, like I know this morning it was 48 degrees, but as soon as the sun come up and it hit this, it warmed up. There would be no heat needed at all. So it just depends on the day, your climate, how much sunshine you get. In the wintertime, days are shorter, and there are a lot more cloudy days that we seem to have during the winter, just like those gloomy days. So I may end up using the heat source more often than I, would anticipate. So the third option that I come across was a stove. And then with a stove, you could do a wood burning stove or a pellet stove, is my thought, because we heat our house with wood. but wood would be a little bit more challenging because this is down here and I'm not down here all the time. I would be down here feeding a wood stove all the time like I do up there and not being able to keep an eye on it real good. I just wasn't comfortable with that solution. So we looked into the pellet stove, which I thought, after we went to talk to somebody, sounded like a really great idea. So the pellets last a long time. You can put them in there and they may only have to be replaced once a day or maybe every 3 or 4 days, depending on how much it's used. There's an auger system on it and it feeds the pellets down as they're needed, and then on the side there is levels of heat levels and fan levels, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Let me turn my fan off. Let me turn my fan off so y'all can hear me, and I should have done that earlier, but I didn't think about it. Now this is a grill cover. I wanted something to be able to cover my stove with to keep the humidity off of it and just kind of preserve it. Especially like in the summertime. Now this is my pellet stove, and I got this at England's Wood Stove, and this is rated for 1,500 square feet, but my greenhouse is not that big. So I'm only thinking that it's gonna have to be on like level 1 or 2, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see when we start burning it. And it has a hopper on the top that you open up. This is where you pour in your pellets. And I'm using hardwood pellets. I bought a ton of them earlier this year when the prices were good in the summertime. I have a storage place for these where they can stay dry. And I think that was 50 bags that I bought for around $250. So you can fill up the hopper with 1 bag. It feeds it into here. And there's a little fire there. And it also has a range right here that you can turn it up. So basically it self-ignites, so you just hit a button and it turns on, which is super nice. You come down here and just hit the on button, turn it to the heat range you want, turn it to the blower speed you want, and it's ready to do its own thing. Now, I will control this stove thermostatically with my fan and with these levels right here. In theory, hopefully everything will work really well. So, and you're supposed to do like a 3-hour burn after you first put it in, and we did do that. Everything worked great. It was nice and toasty in here. I haven't tried it since then with the low temperatures because I haven't had to, just because of it's still pretty warm and it stays pretty good and warm in here at night. It holds the temperature pretty well. But that is how I plan to heat this over the winter. And like I said, this will not be running 24/7. There'll be times I can go down here and just turn it off and then turn it back on as needed. That way I'm not burning pellets all the time and it's super hot. So I can control it with the temperature controls on the side and my fan. And I also have another little handy gadget that can help me determine, like, say if I'm in the house and I need to know if the temperature has dropped below a level that I don't want it to. With my tropicals, I want to try to keep it at least 60, 65. So if my greenhouse drops below that, then I have this little thing right here called a Govee. It hooks to an app on my phone, and it will alert me when the temperature has went out of the parameters that I have set for it. So super nice. I could be in bed at night and it's like, okay, your greenhouse is at 50. So I'll come down here, hit the button on my stove, and it turns on and will warm it up. And then I can set my vent fan to come on whenever the temperature, is over, say, 82. This will come on. So just different ways to use that. So that is how I plan to heat my greenhouse. I'm super excited about this. I hope that my fruits and vegetables and things I have planted already and things that I plan on doing thrive really well. Even my flowers, my tropicals, different things that I've got going on in here. It's a good place for them to stay over the winter. And hopefully everything goes really well. And if you guys want to like and subscribe to my channel, you'll get my notifications. I normally do like a daily vlog or every other day. We have a lot of stuff going on around here. Just greenhouse, gardens, homesteading stuff, incorporated with family stuff, just fun, lots of stuff my husband does. He does woodworking and just different things. So hope y'all have a blessed day and see you on the next vlog.